Okay, so in today's workplace, we all understand that collaboration is essential, right? It's really key for getting things done. But what happens when that very thing, the collaboration that's supposed to help us, actually starts to hold us back? That's what we're diving deep into today, this kind of paradox called collaborative overload. It seems to be everywhere, this phenomenon, and it feels like it's ramped up, especially with all the digital changes and, so much remote work now. So our mission for this deep dive is to really get into it. We want to unpack what it is, spot the signs, the sometimes subtle ones, and look at the hidden costs. And importantly, figure out some practical things you can actually do for yourself and maybe for your team or company. Our insights today, they're coming from this really interesting article, Navigating Collaborative Overload in the Modern Workplace. And that piece pulls together some solid research, including stuff from Harvard Business Review. So let's start right there. What exactly are we talking about with collaborative overload? How would you, break that down?
Right. Well, it's basically when you as an employee end up spending so much of your time just interacting,
Yeah.
coordinating with people, communicating endless emails, back-to-back virtual meetings, constant instant messages, that the work you're actually supposed to be doing, your core job, it really starts to slip. It genuinely suffers. It's more than just feeling busy. It's like your focus is just constantly being pulled away from that deep work.
Pulled away. Yeah. In other
And
words,
what's really kind of staggering, and I think this might surprise some people listening, research suggests that in many places, it could be up to 80%. 80% of an employee's time is swallowed up by these collaborative things.
80. Wow.
It's,
That's almost the whole week.
it's a huge chunk. Yeah.
So, okay, it sounds like collaboration itself isn't the enemy here. It's more about finding the line, like good collaboration versus just
Yeah.
too much draining stuff.
Exactly. That's the core distinction. We absolutely need collaboration. It's vital. But there's a tipping point, a point where it stops adding value and actually starts subtracting, from your productivity, your team's effectiveness, even the organization's bottom line. It's about being purposeful versus just being present.
Purposeful versus present. I like that. Okay, so if someone's listening and that 80% number is ringing a bell, maybe painfully, they're probably wondering, is this me? Is my team stuck here? This is where it gets really practical, right?
Yeah.
How can you tell? What are those like day-to-day signs that you're drowning in this collaborative overload?
Yeah, the source lays out some pretty clear warning signs, things you can actually spot. First one, and maybe the most visible, calendar congestion. Just look at your schedule. Are meetings packed back to back, maybe with zero breaks in between? Just wall-to-wall calls.
Oh, yeah. The dreaded wall-to-wall calendar
Yeah.
leaves no time to actually do anything you talked about in the meetings.
Precisely. And that leads right into the second sign. People consistently working longer hours, not necessarily because the workload itself increased, but just to find time for their individual tasks, because the normal workday is completely eaten up by all that interaction.
Right. Playing catch-up in the evenings or early mornings, I can definitely see listeners nodding along to that one.
It's very common. And tied close into that, the third sign is, well, rising stress levels, you see it, and lower job satisfaction. People feel like they always have to be on, always available, always responsive. It leads to this constant feeling of being overwhelmed.
Tethered to the machine almost.
Yeah, exactly. And here's the irony. Despite all this communication, the fourth sign is often delayed projects. It feels counterintuitive, right? You're talking more, but things are actually slowing down.
More noise, less signal.
Kind of. And finally, a really key indicator is when you see these collaborative bottlenecks emerge. This is where maybe one or two key people become totally swamped because everyone needs their input, their approval, their sign-off. And because they're overloaded, they slow the whole process down for everyone else.
Right, the human bottleneck. It's definitely worth pausing and thinking, do you see these signs in your own week?
Absolutely. Take a moment and reflect.
Okay, so these signs, they definitely paint a picture of, well, a stressful way to work. But beyond just feeling busy or stressed out, what are the bigger costs here? Like for the individual's career maybe, or for the whole organization?
Yeah.
What's the real bottom line impact?
Yeah, if we zoom out, the impact goes way beyond just individual stress. That's often just, the symptom you see first. The source points to three main buckets of costs. First, there are the financial costs. And these are often seriously underestimated. Organizations are, quite literally, losing millions in productivity. Think about it.
How so? Like directly.
Directly. Imagine you have a top engineer, a brilliant strategist, someone whose time is incredibly valuable. If they're spending, say, 40% of their week in low-value status meetings or just answering endless pings instead of doing that deep specialized work they were hired for. That's a massive financial drain. It's not just wasted time, it's misdirected expertise. A silent killer for budgets.
Right, it's the opportunity cost.
Yeah.
What they could have been doing. Okay, that makes sense. What's the second cost?
The second is employee well-being. This constant pressure, the need to be instantly responsive, it leads straight to chronic stress, it leads to burnout, which we hear so much about, and it really messes with work-life balance. You hear people talk about feeling like trapped in this cycle of endless meetings and messages. It takes a huge toll, mentally and emotionally.
Yeah, you can't sustain that long term. People just get worn down.
Exactly. And when people are worn down, stressed, burned out, that leads directly to the third major cost,
Which,
a serious innovation deficit. This one's critical. When do good ideas usually happen? Often, it's when you have quiet time, uninterrupted time to think deeply, to connect disparate ideas.
right, not usually in the middle of your fifth Zoom call of the day.
Precisely. Innovation needs space. It needs focus. Collaborative overload steals that time. True breakthroughs, they often come from solitary synthesis after collaborative input, right? But if there's no time for that synthesis, if you're constantly context switching between chats and meetings and emails, your brain just doesn't get that deep, uninterrupted time it needs to spark something new. Innovation suffers. Big time.
That idea of solitary synthesis versus just collaborative events, that really hits home. Okay, so this is clearly a big problem. It's costly financially, it hurts well-being, it stifles innovation, which leads to the obvious and maybe most important question: what can we actually do about it? What are the solutions? What does the research suggest works?
Okay, good question. The article groups the solutions into four main areas. Practical stuff. First, and maybe the most direct approach, is to implement clear meeting guidelines.
Okay, like what?
Things like establishing meeting-free days or specific blocks of time. Maybe a whole day, maybe just afternoons. Also, really pushing for clear agendas and stated objectives for every single meeting. No agenda, no meeting. Encouraging shorter meetings. Does it need to be an hour? Could it be 25 minutes? And maybe most importantly, building a culture where it's okay to ask, is this meeting actually necessary? Could this be an email, a shared doc?
That takes courage sometimes, questioning a meeting invite.
Yeah.
But yeah, shifting from attend by default to question by default makes sense.
It's a cultural shift, definitely. The second area is to empower selective collaboration. This means actually giving people real permission to decline meetings that aren't essential for them without penalty.
Ooh, that's a big one.
It is. It also means setting up clearer guidelines for when you actually need that instant, real-time chat versus when asynchronous communication, email, project updates is perfectly fine, maybe even better. And a key part of this, making do not disturb time sacred. Real protected blocks for focused work.
Just letting people focus. Sounds simple, but it feels revolutionary in some workplaces.
It really can be. Okay, third area. Leverage technology wisely. It's not about throwing out the tools.
Right, we need them.
We do, but it's about using them more intentionally, encouraging asynchronous tools when real time isn't needed, using platforms designed for efficient collaboration, not just endless chat streams, and really importantly, creating clear channels. Like this channel is for urgent stuff, this one for project updates, this for social chat. Reduce the noise.
So getting smarter with the tech, not just having more tech.
Yeah.
Got it. What's the fourth solution?
The fourth one is maybe the most structural. Restructure work processes. This means actually taking a hard look at how work gets done, auditing those collaborative steps, or some redundant. Are they just habits we fell into? Maybe designating specific collaboration hours so people know when to expect interaction and when they can expect quiet time. And a huge piece here is ensuring role clarity. When everyone knows exactly what they're responsible for, you cut down massively on unnecessary check-ins, coordination meetings, and confusion.
Yeah, less stepping on toes or wondering who's doing what. Okay, so these four areas: meeting guidelines, selective collaboration, wise tech use, and restructuring processes. It sounds like the overall aim isn't to kill collaboration. That would be bad. It's about making it smarter, more purposeful.
Exactly. More deliberate, more efficient. It's about quality over just quantity of interaction, working smarter together, not just interacting more often.
Makes sense. So wrapping this up, it really feels like managing this collaborative overload isn't just a nice to have anymore.
No, I think it's becoming absolutely critical. As workplaces keep changing so fast, the organizations and the individuals, frankly, who figure out this balance, the ones who can foster great collaboration and protect that deep individual focus, they're going to have a real edge, a significant competitive advantage.
A powerful thought to end on. Before we close, any final provocation for our listeners to chew on?
Yeah, maybe just this. If this constant connection, this pressure to always be on, is leading us towards a kind of collective burnout, what amazing ideas, what hidden innovations or breakthroughs might be sitting right there just waiting for the quiet, just beyond the next do not disturb sign, simply needing that uninterrupted space to actually emerge?